Hey everybody, my name's Eric and welcome to the Jailcast. Well, I'm in my new apartment, which means a new set, new shows, everything coming down the pipe here. So let's get started with today's episode of Monday Night Raw for May 15th, 2017. The show opened up with Kurt Angle coming out, and he basically just kind of ran down the whole fact that Braun Strowman looks to be injured. He had elbow surgery, apparently. WWE.com confirmed this earlier in the day. And it looks like Braun Strowman's going to be out up to 6 months, which is really not something that WWE wanted to hear. This looks legit. It does not look like a complete storyline angle or anything like that, even though they did do an injury angle last week with Braun Strowman, where Roman Reigns looked to take him out, and just beat him up during the show. But this really throws a wrench in WWE's plans, so to speak, because Strowman was, as Kurt said, was slated to face Brock Lesnar for the championship, and that looks like it's not going to happen now. So being this is a legit injury, we are now going to get apparently a fatal 5-way for the number one contendership to Brock Lesnar and the Universal Championship, and that fatal 5-way is going to include Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, and Roman Reigns, and obviously that brought out all these guys. Basically, they come out and said, hey, I deserve to be the number one contender, there's no need to have this match, so to speak, and they basically just ended up beating each other up, and Finn Balor kind of stood tall at the end of all that. So that was the opening to the show. So afterwards, Kurt Angle then made 2 matches backstage, and Seth Rollins will face Bray Wyatt for apparently the first time ever tonight on Raw, and Roman Reigns will face Finn Balor. It was also announced that the Hardys will defend the WWE Raw Tag Team Championships against Sheamus and Cesaro at Extreme Rules, which I kind of thought was already, pretty well laid out last week when Sheamus and Cesaro won that Tag Team Turmoil match, but apparently this is the confirmation of that right here. Then we also had it was a match of Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. During the match, Matt Hardy was supposed to be bro kicked off of the apron, and Matt Hardy looked like he botched the spot and didn't go off the apron when he was supposed to, so Sheamus had to kick him twice. So that looked like it was kind of brutal. But then Sheamus went for a bro kick on Jeff, but Jeff got out of the way, and then Sheamus almost hit Matt. And then Jeff hit the Twist of Fate on Sheamus and followed it up with a Swanton Bomb for the victory. This is just kind of your typical Raw match, setting up the feud here going forward. Looks like it's going to be at Extreme Rules. I'm not sure if that's going to be under Extreme Rules or if it's going to be just a normal tag team match or not. They haven't really confirmed that just yet. Then after that, we had Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. This kind of surprised me a little bit. Alicia Fox basically just wins clean over Sasha Banks here. That was kind of a bit of a stunner for no real apparent reason, in my opinion. I mean, nothing against Alicia Fox. I think she's okay. I think she could use a little bit of work, because it looked like some of the timing was off here with Sasha Banks. So I don't know exactly what they're setting her up here for. Maybe just to kind of give her a little momentum, and maybe they're going to continue this feud with Sasha Banks. But to me, it just kind of felt like it was out of nowhere. She just pinned Sasha Banks for no real clear-cut reason. But that's fine. If you want to build a new character and a new heel diva or woman here in the division, that's perfectly fine here. So, I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of there. I wasn't super impressed with it. After that, we had the Intercontinental Championship match with Dean Ambrose defending against The Miz. Obviously, these two have kind of been going back and forth with each other over the last few weeks, and the match basically ended when Miz tried to low blow Dean Ambrose, and Ambrose blocked it, and then just decided to low blow him right there in front of the referee. He low blowed Miz, and that got Miz the win due to disqualification. So Dean Ambrose will retain his championship here, and obviously this is going to be to set up the Extreme Rules rematch between the two, which they did confirm later on in this night. So, I mean, obviously this feud must continue. I thought the match was pretty good. I'm really kind of one of those people who will defend The Miz a little bit. I think he's really good on the mic, and I think he actually is much better in the ring than some people give him credit for, and he's improving greatly over the last year or so. So I think it's something that I think that Miz should win this title at Extreme Rules, and I mean, he's already won it, I think they said 6 times tonight, so it would be his 7th championship reign. So I think that would be really cool for him going down in the future here. After that, we had Alexis Bliss. She come down to the ring and basically started insulting the crowd, and just kind of doing her shtick, which is good. I think Alexa is a very good talker, much like Charlotte Flair. I think she's really good on the mic, and she plays a great heel here. And then obviously, Bayley was announced that she has a rematch for the Women's Championship at Extreme Rules. And then basically the whole segment ended where Alexa Bliss basically used a kendo stick from under the ring and struck Bayley in the back, which looked like it sucked, by the way. And then they kind of, it just kind of ended with Bayley, hurting and all things like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing this match at Extreme Rules. I think they confirmed a little bit later on here, which I'll get into, that it will be a kendo stick on a pole match. So obviously, more often than not, when those matches take place, whoever gets the item on the pole first is allowed to use it. So usually in most cases, they both end up using the weapon when all things said and done. So it'll be kind of cool to see these two ladies just, beat the crap out of each other with kendo sticks. So I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun to watch. Backstage, Kurt Angle was confronted by The Miz and Maurice. Miz demanded a rematch for the title since Ambrose hit him with a low blow early in the night, so Angle then gave him the match at Extreme Rules, as I mentioned. The Miz then said that the title should be able to change hands if the match ends with Ambrose getting disqualified. Pardon me if I'm wrong here, but if it's an Extreme Rules match, which a lot of these matches at the pay-per-view probably will be, obviously, if he gets there's no disqualification. So it's kind of like, it was a little, I don't know, unnecessary for him to say that, but maybe that match is not going to be Extreme Rules. If that's the case, it makes a little more sense. I just thought, upon first viewing, I thought that sounded kind of odd. But Kurt Angle reluctantly agreed and then told The Miz to watch his tone next time he tries to speak to him. And Maurice then yelled at Angle in French, but he was interrupted by the Drifter strumming his guitar, which I don't know if they're ever going to put the Drifter in a match. I know from watching NXT, he's not that great in my opinion. So I don't necessarily really care if they put him in a match, but he's just kind of been walking around just strumming guitars. So I don't know. I guess maybe they're trying to protect him in that regard, and maybe they don't want to put him in a match right away until he improves some, which I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. So we'll just have to wait and see what they do with the Drifter. Then next up, we had Jack Gallagher and Austin Aries versus Neville and TJP. I thought this was actually a pretty decent little match here. The match ended with TJP hitting the detonation kick on Jack Gallagher for the win. I've got this little pet peeve. I know it's kind of a silly little thing, but I think TJP, if you're going to play him off as his heel with Neville, you really, really need to change his entrance music. That video game type, I don't know, 8-bit type music, it's really cool, but at the same time, for a heel, it just doesn't strike, fear, or it doesn't strike this dark demeanor, so to speak. So it's just something that kind of bugs me a little bit. It strikes me as a babyface theme song, that's all. So but other than that, I think this was a good little tag match here, and I thought it was really entertaining. Afterwards, then it was announced that the match between Bayley and Alexa Bliss will be a kendo stick on a pole match here, as Bayley was saying it's unfair to not be able to get back at Alexa here for what she just did. So Kurt then made the match in fairness to Bayley. After that, we got the Golden Truth, which this team has run its course. And as we're about to get into here, it just kind of, Goldust and R-Truth bore me. Or at least as a team, I should say. I just have never been a big fan of R-Truth. I just don't think he's that talented. Yes, he can do a little rap or whatever as he comes down to the ring. But he's just, to me, he's a job guy, and that's kind of where he is on the card. Goldust, on the other hand, back in the day in the Attitude Era, I thought he was great. He was being pushed to almost main event level at times, at least Intercontinental level, and I thought that they did a good job with him and Marlena at the time, and I would love to kind of see him get some of that edge back, and I think that would be really cool to see again. Finn Balor and Roman Reigns was up next. Another big match for the show. I thought there was 2 or 3 really good matches on the show, and Finn Balor and Roman Reigns had one of them. Obviously, the ending, Balor connected with a kick to Roman's head and then knocked Reigns to the floor as the match kept going on a little bit, and then Roman Reigns eventually planted Finn Balor with a spear for the victory. Obviously, they love to push Roman Reigns here, and this is kind of another example. Now, granted, this is one-on-one, and they did play it off that Finn Balor put up a hell of an effort in this match, so they didn't totally bury Finn Balor at all. I thought they did a good job of showing that he has got something to offer here when it comes to the main event level, And obviously, in my opinion, he's still the Universal Champion because he never really lost that belt. It was due to injury. Yes, he had to relinquish it, and I get all that. But in my mind, he has more of a claim to that title match against Brock Lesnar than anybody. But we'll wait until Extreme Rules to find out exactly if he can win that match in the Fatal 5-Way. Like I said, it was a good match, so very, very well done and very entertaining all the way around. After that, Bray Wyatt warned Seth Rollins before their match tonight on the big screen that he will become the Universal Champion, blah, 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 blah. To me, Bray Wyatt is just kind of... I like the guy as a wrestler. I think he's very talented. But as a promo, it just seems like he says the same thing week in, week out, and it starts to become a little boring. But I'm hoping that he will turn it around here on Raw. I know he's kind of new over here, so it'll be kind of fun to see him actually say some things that actually mean something instead of just babbling on about being an eater of worlds and you all worship my name as I stand triumphant as your new champion. You know, so he's okay, and I just want to see him kind of take his promos to the next level. Afterwards, we were supposed to have Golden Truth versus Gallo and Anderson, but as before I said, this tag team has kind of run its course, and finally, after I don't know how many years, Goldust actually turns on R-Truth here and beats him up, leaves him laying, and the crowd's chanting yes and, you know, thank you Goldust and everything after the attack. So it's about time. I like I said, I just want to see the edge come back to Goldust here. I know he's kind of a veteran and he's kind of getting up there in years here, and I'm hoping that maybe he'll get one last really good run with the company before he ends up hanging up the boots. Afterwards, we had Enzo and Cass come out, and Enzo talks about how he's from right here in New Jersey. And WWE's got this thing where they love to beat their hometown heroes right there in a match. So obviously, I assumed Enzo was going to be going up against Apollo Crews, but it ended up being Titus O'Neil going up against Big Cass, and Big Cass pretty much it didn't take very long for Big Cass to win this match. But after the match, obviously, because WWE has that thing where they want to beat the hometown guy, even though Enzo was not in the match, he tried to take it a little too far and tried to take a selfie and of the Titus O'Neil laying on the mat, and Apollo Crews took a little exception to that and kicked Enzo right in the head. Couldn't even let him have it. He just could not let him have his moment right there in his hometown, or home state, I should say. And so that's just kind of what WWE does with guys. And Enzo's a bit of a joke. And even Big Cass was sitting on the outside, kind of like, "What are you doing, dude?" He's like, "You deserve to be kicked in the head." So that was kind of funny to see his own tag team partner kind of just, well, that's what you get, idiot. But so it was kind of funny. But anyway, that's what WWE does with hometown guys. After that, we had the main event segment with Bray Wyatt against Seth Rollins for apparently the first time. I thought the two had a very good Raw match. It wasn't anything, spectacular or anything like that, but I thought for the first time ever meeting, I thought they did a pretty good job. The match obviously, ended up spilling onto the outside of the ring, and that's when Samoa Joe, who kind of got the night off a little bit after the opening segment where he kind of, talked a bit, he didn't have to wrestle at all, so he ends up coming on the outside and attacking Seth Rollins from behind and ending the match in a DQ, which cost Bray Wyatt the match, and afterwards Bray Wyatt and Samoa Joe beat down Seth Rollins, which I thought was kind of like, okay, he just cost you a match. Why are you helping him, Bray? I mean, I couldn't understand why he was helping Samoa Joe, but then obviously Bray Wyatt, logically, finally for once, the booking was pretty logical here, and Bray Wyatt did turn on Samoa Joe, giving him the Sister Abigail. And then he gives the Sister Abigail to Seth Rollins to end the show. So I thought it was a good setup show for Extreme Rules coming up in a few weeks here. They furthered the main event here. They obviously finally have a plan to kind of where they're going to go after Braun Strowman got injured. So it's a bit of a, they had to kind of scramble a little bit, probably come up with this main event here for the show. And they built a few other feuds with Bayley and Alexa Bliss and Miz and Dean Ambrose as well, and the tag team title match. So they're starting to build a card for Extreme Rules, and I think it's a good start to what will hopefully be a good show in a few weeks coming down the road. Well, that'll just about do it for me, everybody. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel right here by clicking this round logo right here. Please click on that and subscribe for more trailer reactions, movie reviews, movie news, NFL recap shows, and WWE professional wrestling shows. I'll be going over all those shows, and you can check them out right here on the channel. Also, you can find me on my Facebook and Twitter at facebook.com/Gelcast or on Twitter at EricGel. So until next time, as always, God bless.